morning, Fashion Theory. How's the sound? I've got the microphone hooked up with a little adapter. Just want to make sure. Pretty good so far. Awesome. Oh my god, and the picture is so clear. New fancy phone is worth it. Wow. I'm not fuzzy. I'm excited. It's the little things, right? Oh man. So how are you feeling? Doing okay? Anything in particular you want to work on today? It is going to be a very gentle day because everything hurts and I'm dying. The weather is just absolutely killing me. Like, it's just the worst. Oh man. We're gonna try for some music today. Sudden cold. I know, sudden cold and wet is awful. Hamstrings, we can do a little bit of hamstrings, but I'm not gonna do much in the way of standing today, because standing and forward when I am in high levels of pain is that's a bad plan. Can you hear music? Sounds good on not hearing, and yes on the music. Is it a reasonable volume? Does it sound okay? Is it coming through? I think I might have finally gotten the damn music thing figured out. Get started in just a minute. See if anybody else is gonna show up. I was wanting to start even a little bit earlier for more chitty chat time, but just for whatever reason, they weren't talking to each other. What? Volume is good. It's not overwhelming. Your voice. Alright, cool. Okay. Start out. Come to a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. You can be sitting on a cushion. You can be sitting on a block. You can be sitting on the floor, sitting cross-legged. Just start to breathe. Start to arrive in this moment, drawing your world in to surround your mat without letting your mind go too many other places. Try to sit up as tall as you can. Hands are resting lightly on the knees or by your sides. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Again, deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's do one more like that. Big inhale. Exhale. We're going to do only. Okay, I do have it on that. Good. Like I said, we're going to take it gentle, take it slow. Take the right hand and just slide it out away from you. Just a little bit to start with. Feel your left sit bone press down into the floor, and you can take the right hand out as far as feels good. I want you to tilt over, soft right elbow. You can keep your left hand down for the moment. Really keep the left hip down. You can even use your left hand to sort of feel yourself grounding down there. I want you to feel the stretch down low in the side of the body first. Nice deep breaths. And then maybe start to lift the ribs up towards the ceiling a little bit, or at least out towards the side, depending on where you are. Adjust your hand as you need to find that little extra stretch. When you feel ready, you can sweep the left arm up and over, adding the stretch up higher. Eyes can go up towards the ceiling, or they can stay forward, whatever feels better on your neck. Right arm stays soft, stretching up and over. You're trying to create kind of a crescent shape from your hip to your fingers. And slowly sweep the arm up. Come back upright. Slide the left hand out. Right hip stays pressing down into the floor. Nice and strong. Left elbow soft. Find the stretch. It might feel different on this side. Depends on how you sit normally. It depends on your body. It depends on potential injuries that you might deal with. Start to lift the ribs out. Adjust the hand as you need to. And when you feel ready, you can reach the right arm up and over. Creating that crescent shape. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Eyes can go up or they can stay forward. And slowly sweep the right arm up to guide yourself upright. Beautiful. Back upright. Feel that little bit of stretch there. Let's take a gentle twist. Right hand behind, left hand across. Looking over the right shoulder. Lengthening through the spine as you twist a little bit more. center. Left hand behind, right hand across, lengthen and twist. And slowly back to center. Just walk the hands forward, rounding over the legs, coming down however feels good. Letting the head hang down, letting the spine round as deeply as you can. And bring it back up, nice and slow. Stack the spine. I'm going to switch which leg is in front. We're going to repeat through that. So walking the right hand out, left hip bone stays planted down into the floor, lengthening through the ribs. Sweep the left arm up if you can. Soft right elbow. You can even use the right arm like a spring to take yourself a tiny bit deeper into the stretch and then lift out of it. Make it a little bit more of a dynamic stretch. I'm always a fan of dynamic stretches, within reason and safely. But dynamic stretches are often more productive than static stretches because you're using the strength, you're using the body. Left arm guides you back up. Oh, man. Slide the left hand back out. Right hip stays planted down, nice and strong. Finding that stretch. Sweeping the right arm up and over. Maybe finding that little bit of movement. And when I say movement, I mean like I'm moving probably 2 inches in space, if that. It's not a lot, it's not big, it's not ballistic. That's the important part. It's very controlled. Dynamic, but controlled. Sweep the right arm up to guide yourself back to center. Right hand comes behind, left hand across, find your twist. Might be a tiny bit deeper now that you're warming up. And slowly back to center. Left hand behind, right hand across. And slowly back to center. Alright, let's take the bottom of the feet together. Heels are drawing in, but not necessarily as tight as you can get them. We want to get a good stretch, but we don't want to get it into a position where you can't really move. If this feels too tight, just slide your feet out away from you a little bit. Hands can rest on the ankles. And we're just going to take the knees and lift them as high as you can. And then press them down as far as you can, using the strength of your hips, not your hands. Lifting and pressing. Now, if you notice when you go to press down that one knee sits up higher than the other, then I want you to really focus on that particular side. We want to try to bring it in balance with the other. So we lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. You're not just relaxing down, you're actively pushing the knees towards the floor with the strength of the hips. Just like you're using the strength to pull them up, you're using the strength to press it down, trying to sit up even taller as you do that. Let's do that one more time. Lift up and press down. Take the hands to the ankles if you've moved them. I like to move my hands around when I talk or when I do that, so hands back to the ankles. Take a deep breath in, lift through the heart. Eyes go up, lengthen up. And then exhale, round the spine. Inhale, you're lengthening up, you're curving, creating a crescent shape forward. And then as you exhale, you're reversing the crescent in the other direction. Inhale, reach up. I'm going to turn to the side for you. And exhale, round. You can even lean back onto the back of the hips a little bit. Inhale, up, finding that gentle movement. Exhale, round. You can tuck the chin, make it a little deeper. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, go straight up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, keeping the spine as long as you can. You can walk the hands forward for support. So one of the things about the hamstrings is that they're connected to the hips. Funny, I know. But the more you can open up through the hips, the better off your hamstrings are also going to be. Lengthening and folding, just a little bit at a time. Now, if your hands are out in front of you, if you have enough range of motion to have your hands out in front of you some, you can press your palms down and draw yourself forward just a tiny bit into a deeper stretch. Take another deep breath in. And then exhale, allow the spine to round, hanging down. Head reaches for the feet, wherever you are. If you're up here and you're rounding, that's perfectly fine. I want you to be where you are today. Nice deep breaths. I'm going to walk it in. Lengthen all the way back up. Beautiful. Now take a second here. We're going to lift the knees and press them down again. Does it feel any different? Press. Lift. And press. Lift. And press. Alright, let's take the right leg up and reach it out. I'm going to bring the left foot towards the inner thigh. If you can get it to the knee, you're doing great. But here, I just want you to flex the foot and sit up as tall as you can. This might already feel like a stretch in the calf or in the hamstring or the back of the knee, but I want you to find that lifted, reaching up high, strong, straight spine, flexed right foot. Try to keep your hips square forward. So sometimes when we pull that foot in order to get it in farther, we open out. We don't want to do that. Everything's square forward. Lengthening up, I just want you to keep that strong, straight spine and start to reach the chest for the toes. You might not go very far. It's okay. Hamstrings are generally rude. They just are. Lengthen and maybe fold a tiny bit more. You can walk the hands forward. Keep the shoulders down and back. Keep pulling the toes towards the face. Now, with another deep breath in, deep breath out. I want you to hold it here. Point your toes and flex. Point, so you're releasing the stretch a little bit, and flex. Point and flex. Point. Oh, hey, stretching you out. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. Try to fold a little bit more, and then flex the toes in that deeper position. Your leg is going to kind of go, ugh, but it's okay. We're working into it softly. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Walk the hands in. Come back up. Stretching you out says, thanks, I appreciate you too. Looking good. Thanks, man. Alright, let's switch sides. Take the left leg up. Straighten it out. Whew. Right leg draws in. Bottom of the foot towards the inner thigh. Knee is just fine. Work towards the inner thigh. Hips are square forward. We're going to lengthen up as high as you can. Flex the left toes and just slowly start to walk your way into the stretch. Little bitty baby steps. Find where your best stretch is. So it's not all about finding the perfect pose. It's about finding where your perfect pose is. There's a difference there. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, big inhale. Notice the stretch in the calf, in the back of the knee, in the hamstring. Now we're going to point. Flex. Point. And flex. Feel the stretch change. Point. Flex. Stretching out says pigeon pose is one of my favorites. Me too. Point the toes. Try to come a little bit deeper into the stretch. And then here we go. Draw the toes back towards the face. Try to keep your face relaxed as you're in that slightly deeper stretch. We're probably going to do pigeon pose today because I'm always all about stretching out the hips. Like, it's good for you. Strong breath in. Strong breath out. Slowly walk the hands in. Straighten the right leg out. Give it a shake. Give it a wiggle. Hold that thought for just a second. Grab a drink of water or coffee if you've got it. Ugh. My baby monitor was telling me that it had a low battery. I don't want to deal with that. Alright. We're going to turn back to the long, well, you don't have to turn if you have the space for it, but I'm going to turn back to the long side of my mat. I'm going to take the legs out as wide as you comfortably can into a V. Sitting up nice and tall, I want you to flex the toes. Now, if you have knees that hyperextend like I do, if you flex the feet, oftentimes you're engaging the quads, and you'll notice how my heels float up off the floor. We don't want that. All I want you to do is draw the toes back and try to relax the upper portion of the legs. We're going to take the toes and rotate them in, and then take them and rotate them out. Rotate them in, and rotate them out. I want you to feel that engagement from the hips. Rotate them in and rotate them out. Now, depending on how tight your hips are to start, if your legs are in closer, this might feel a little bit different or in a slightly different place. The wider you go, the higher up they go. Rotate in and rotate out. Now, I want you to try and keep the toes at the very least pointing up, if not pointing back a little bit. We're going to lengthen and start to walk the hands forward. Now, as you come forward, your toes are going to want to roll in. Try to fight that. Try to combat that. So when you're talking about stretching out the hamstrings, it can get a little bit iffy because everything is so interconnected that if one thing is tight, it's going to create a cascade effect of this is not going to work. So we have to do some very interesting things to try and get into the hamstrings proper. Now, as you're leaning forward into this, if you feel this stretch in your lower back, I want you to back it up and walk the legs in a little bit, okay? And then come back into it. You want, ideally, to be feeling this right up into the hamstrings where it connects to your hips. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Nice and strong. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Pull the core in, and if you like, you can start to walk your hands out wide. This is going to take away some of the support for the upper body. Yes, gradually stretch. That's where we want to be. Never forcing into a pose, never going deeper than your body will allow you in a ballistic fashion. We want to work into it nice and slow. All right, deep breath in, deep breath out. Walk the hands in and come on up. Lovely. Relax the feet, you can shake it out. All right, from here, you're going to take the right arm and place the back of the hand on the floor in front of you as you sweep the left arm up. Eyes can go towards the left arm or up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to gradually start to tilt towards the right leg. You're reaching vaguely in the direction of your right toes. Now note here, when you start tilting, if your left hip comes up off the floor, I want you to re-engage and let that stretch happen in the side body. If this is too intense on the side body, you can walk the right hand out, give yourself a little bit of support. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more inhale, and slowly guide yourself back up with the left arm. Left hand, back of the hand to the floor. Right arm stretches up and across. Keeping the right hip planted down into the floor. If it starts to float, lift up a little bit, re-engage. You're reaching vaguely for your left foot. And deep breath in, deep breath out. One more inhale. Exhale, float the right arm up and lift. Let's walk the legs in. I'm going to turn back to the side. You can do straighten both legs out in front of you. You can give it a little rock side to side. Feel both sit bones planted down into the floor. Flexing the toes back towards the face, we're going to lengthen up and slowly start to walk the hands forward into the stretch. Now notice, I'm not going very far. I've already got a stretch going on in my calves and in the backs of my knees. And you're trying to tilt from the pelvis into this stretch, not from the waist. Leaning forward, deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's point the toes and flex. Feel how it changes the stretch. Point and flex. Point, try to go a tiny bit deeper and flex. Whew. Now, I don't know about you right now, but my legs are actually shaking with how intense this stretch is. We'll slowly walk it back in, relax it out. So working on the lower back a little bit to work into the hamstrings. We are going to bend the knees, come up onto your heels. Now, if you need to, you can grab a strap, belt, rope, cord, something, and you can loop it around your feet. If you can, however, I want you to press your ribs onto your thighs and reach forward and try to grab your big toes or the tops of your toes. You can grab the outside of the feet, but I find this is not quite as good. I go for the big toes. Lengthening up, keeping the ribs pressing onto the thighs. I want you to walk your heels forward a tiny bit. Lengthen, press, maybe walk. Find where you are in a good stretch. Lengthen, press, maybe walk. So I'm going to show you here. My knees are still bent. My knees are not straight. It's okay if your legs are bent. I want you to lengthen, press the ribs, and hold. Now, in this deep range of motion stretch, wherever your edge is, we are going to squeeze the thighs and pull the belly in tight. And then relax. So you're activating the muscles. You're squeezing the legs, squeeze, and the core, and relax. Keep your eyes forward. Don't let your head drop down yet. Squeeze, and relax. Now, lengthen, press, and maybe see, if you can get a slightly deeper stretch, sliding the heels forward a teeny tiny bit. I'm going to squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, ribs are pressing down, still lengthening through the spine, squeeze, relax. Maybe the heels walk out a little bit more. So now with those engagements, you can see my leg is straight. There's a little bit of space behind my knees because that's just my structure. Holding here, keeping the spine long, keeping everything reaching forward. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can let the head come down, nose towards the knees. Feel the stretch across the back of the body, down into the hips, maybe even into the hamstrings. Deep breath in, deep breath out. We'll hold for one more stretch. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Slowly release the hands. Let's walk it up. Give it a shake. Give it a wiggle. Grab some water or coffee. Fashion theory. How are your hamstrings? We good? Whew, man. It's been a little while since I've done that one. Yeah. Yeah. Fashion theory says, oof. My job here is done. Except it's not. We still have like half an hour of yoga. Alright, let's draw the right foot in towards the inner thigh. I'm going to take the left hand behind. Reach your right arm forward. Fashion theory says we're good. Yes. Reach the right arm forward. Lengthen and try to draw the hand across by turning the body rather than just moving from the shoulder. Hand comes to the outside of the leg. You can be at the calf, be at the ankle, be at the foot. You can walk your left hand out to the side a little bit as you're lengthening, folding, and twisting. There's a lot going on here. As you are lengthening, folding, and twisting, try to relax your leg. Generally, when we start asking it to go into this kind of range of motion, your quad automatically goes. So I want you to actively relax that leg. Keep it nice and soft. Eyes can be wherever feels good for you. Protect your neck. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then we'll slide the left hand forward and round over the leg. So before we were folding over the leg, now I want you to round, nose towards the knee. Hands can reach for the foot, or they can stay on the floor. Wherever you are today is where you are. Slowly walk the hands in. And we come on up. We'll switch it out. Straighten out through the right leg. Bend up through the left. Right hand comes behind. Find your twist. Reach the left arm forward. Back of the hand comes across to the calf, the ankle, the foot as you fold into it. Strong spine. Lengthening, folding, twisting. Relaxing through the right thigh. Right hand can be wherever you need it to be for support. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, deep breath in. And deep breath out. And slowly slide the right hand forward. Round over the leg. Nose towards the knee. One more big breath here. Walk the hands in. Lift up nice and slow. We're going to do one more on the hamstrings before we move on to something else. Take the left leg back out. Bend up the right leg, but I want you to have the right leg sort of in front of you, so your right heel should be in front of your left hip. Just whatever's comfortable there for you. Now, grab that strap if you need to. You're going to loop it around the foot, or you can reach out and grab the foot. And we're going to try to lift the heel off the floor, sitting up nice and tall. Now, you're either holding on to the ends of that strap or you're holding on to your foot as you start to straighten the leg and press out through the heel. Once you feel like your hamstring is going, oh, hey, I'm here, I'm stretching, I'll do the thing, please stop, that's where you're going to just pause and soften into the stretch. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Now your foot might not be as high as mine is. That's okay. And if you've got the strap, maybe you're out here. That's also okay. Just work into where you feel like you're good today. Slowly bend the left foot and set it back down. Good. Stretching you out says feeling that one. Yes. Left leg comes in front, left heel in front of the right hip. Move the strap over to your right foot if you are using a strap, or get a hold of the foot. I'm just going to pick it up, find your balance, feel where you're good, and slowly start to press it out. Shoulders draw down and back, lengthening through the crown of the head. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. One more. And slowly bend the knee. Setting it down. Woo! And you can just hang out in a butterfly pose for a second. And rock side to side if that feels good. Or give it a little flap or a little forward and back. Just working out in your hips wherever it feels alright. Let's take the legs around. Ooh, coming up to a tabletop position. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips, wrap through the upper arms, push the floor away. While you're pushing the floor away, I want you to not lock your elbows, but rather think about your arms as springs. Tight springs, strong springs, but still springs. Oh, let's do some hip circles. Let's lean forward, to the right, back, to the left, forward, and around. I'm going to go around a couple of times here. Pause when you get forward again, and then reverse it. Left, back, right, forward, around, nice and slow. And pause. Come back to neutral, back to center, back in your tabletop. Inhale. Reach the heart forward. Let the eyes go up. Sit bones go up. And then exhale. Round the spine up towards the ceiling as high as you can. Inhale. Soft arms, strong arms as you reach the heart forward. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Let's come back to neutral. You can take the knees wide, sit the hips back. Child's pose, melt into the floor. We're going to take 2 deep breaths here. All right. Work your way back up to your tabletop position. Take the right leg and stretch it back. Stay on the ball of the foot. I want you to push back through the heel. Okay, so we're actively stretching through the back of the leg by pushing the heel back away from you. You can press into the hands and get a little stretch on the calf. All right, come back to neutral there. Left arm's going to slide forward. So we still have limbs on the floor here. We're still feeling pretty good, feeling pretty balanced. See if you can float the right leg off the floor. Belly draws in, hips are level, everything's strong. See if you can float the left arm up off the floor. Good morning, Cat Cleary. No worries, no worries. And then float it down to the floor. Slide it back in. Second side. Reach the left leg back. Tuck the toes, press back through the heel, push into the hands, get a nice deep calf stretch here. And back to neutral. Sliding the right hand forward, limbs are still on the floor. Pushing the floor away, everything's nice and strong. Squeeze through the core, squeeze through the glutes. Try to float the left leg off the floor. Hips are level. Right arm stretches out. Don't forget to breathe. Float it down to the floor. Slide it back in. And let's sit back in a child's pose. You can take the knees wide if you want to. And deep breath in. And deep breath out. Come back up to your tabletop position. We're going to stretch out the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, reach the right arm up. And then slowly thread the needle between the hand and the knee, coming down to the shoulder. Now, if this is not accessible to you, you can come up to sit and just draw the arm across in a stretch that's a little bit lighter. Weight is going to be balanced over both knees if you're down here on the floor. You can stretch the left arm out overhead, challenging your balance a little bit, but also allowing yourself to get a little deeper into that stretch. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Slide the left hand in, press into the palm, and lift up. Yes, very, very, so good. Feels great. Back up into your tabletop position, other side. Let's do the left arm. Stretch it up as high as you can. Open out through the chest, and then thread the needle. Down we go. to the shoulder, to the side of the head, relaxing down into it. Do that modified stretch if you need to. Weight is balanced over the knees. Reach the right arm forward if you can. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more breath. Slide the right hand back in. Press into the palm. Slowly lift up. Take the knees wide if you want. Sit the hips back. Child's pose. Down to the floor. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Alright, walk yourself up to sit back on the knees. Bring the knees together if you can. Now, we just did a stretch across the chest, so that was kind of coming forward into it. So we're going to open up the chest by interlacing the fingers behind you. Now, if you can't interlace your fingers behind you, grab your strap. Grab it as far apart as you need to be able to get the hands back. If you can get your hands interlaced, but your wrists are flexed and your palms are far away from each other, that's perfectly fine. We're going to pull the hands down towards the floor, lifting up through the heart. Eyes can go up lightly. So we're not dropping the head back. Everything's staying nice and strong. Opening through the chest, shoulders draw down and back. Might not seem like you're doing a lot here, but you really are. If you can, trying to keep the chest lifting up, see if you can float the hands up away from you just a bit. Deep breaths. Relax the hands down, unwind the fingers or let go of the strap. You can roll it out, loosey-goosey moving around. Good. All right. Let's come forward into your tabletop position. Walk yourself back a little bit on your mat so you're towards the back side. But then you're going to step your hands forward in front of your shoulders and let the hips come forward a bit. Slide the right knee up to the right wrist and see if the right heel can come under the left hip. You can ooch and scooch the left leg back, down into the floor. Cat Cleary, I'm having trouble sitting up on my knees today. That's fine. You never have to sit up like that if we're going to do a stretch. You can always move the legs or sit on something so that you can still do whatever we're doing with the upper body. Oftentimes, if I'm up on the knees to do something, it's just to stretch the upper body. So, stretching you out says beautiful. Thank you. So, we've been hanging out here in pigeon for a second. If you feel like you've got it today, you can work your way down to the elbows. If this is too much for your hip, your knee, whatever, flip yourself over onto your back and draw your knee into your chest and bring the heel over towards the midline of the body, just like we have the shape here on the floor, but you're on your back. I call it Tipsy Pigeon, so it's basically the same thing, it's just a little bit gentler. Nice deep breath. Big inhale. Big exhale. Now, if you are in your traditional pigeon pose here on the elbows and you want to take it a little bit deeper of a stretch on the left side, you can tuck the back toes, push into the toes, and try to float the knee off the floor. If that is too much, you can try making it dynamic by lifting and lowering. This allows you to slowly work into a deeper range of motion. Notice, however, if you're doing that, what is your right leg doing? Is the leg squeezing? Is it tight? Is it uncomfortable? Maybe dial it down. If you're doing all right, you can try just keeping the knee floating up after a bit. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Float the knee down to the floor if you need to. Untuck the toes. We are going to walk the hands in, back up to the palms, lift the chest, eyes go up, little baby proud pigeon. And then very, very, very carefully sit the hips over to the right so that your left leg can sweep around. Right heel is at the left hip. Left heel can be at the inside of the knee, top of the knee, outside of the knee. If you're at the outside of the knee but your foot is floating up off the floor, just come out to the top. Okay? Modification is your friend. Modify is not a dirty word, and we want to modify anytime we need to make it accessible. Left hand will come behind. Take the right arm, stretch it up like you're going to touch the ceiling. Create length. Keep that length as you try to bring the elbow to the left knee. You can also hug the left knee if that works better for you. And if this in any form is not accessible to you, straighten your bottom leg. And then we've got more space there. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Finding your twist wherever you are. Sitting up as tall as you can. One more big inhale. Big exhale. We slowly unwind and come back around to your tabletop position. Second side. Walk the hands forward a little bit. Hips come forward and down. Left knee will slide up to left wrist. Heel underneath right hip. Ooch and scooch the right leg back. Hanging out here. Letting your body settle into it. Now, the hips are level. The hips are even. If you find yourself starting to list to port, as it were, then try to come back to center. Dial out of it if you need to. Working your way down to your elbows. If you did on the other side, try to match what you did on the first side. Hanging out here in pigeon. Deep breath in. Now is an opportune moment to grab a sip if your beverage is handy. Caffeinated pigeon is also a great pose. And then we can tuck the back toes and maybe lift the knee up. Find that dynamic extra stretch by lifting and lowering very gently. Don't slam your knee into the floor. Maybe after a few lifts and lowers, if you feel like you've got it, you can float the knee off the floor and leave it there, but check in with your left leg. Make sure it's not like squeezing too hard. You're keeping it stable, but it's not over the top. And let's float the knee back down to the floor. Untuck the toes. Walk the hands back in, lifting up. Baby proud pigeon. Now, very intentionally, very gently, lean over to the left, sweeping the right leg around to find our twist on this side. So, left heel is at the right hip, right heel is at the inside, top of, or outside of the left knee. You can straighten out that bottom leg if you need to. Right hand comes behind, left arm stretches up. Create as much length as you can. Elbow to the knee or give it a hug. And twist. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again. unwind. Unwind the legs. Lay yourself down. You can grab the backs of the knees to lay yourself down nice and slow. All the way down to the floor. Oh, and maybe find some pelvis tilts here, forward and back. Just working into the lower back. Draw the knees up into the chest. You can always take the knees wider than the chest if you need to. Hugging them in. You can grab the shins or you can grab the backs of the thighs. It just depends on your knees. If you have grumpy knees, then you don't really want to create that much compression on them. You can always grab the backs of the thighs to help you get the stretch without hurting your knees more. And you can even use a strap across the backs of the thighs or across the shins. Lengthening through the spine. Try to reach your sit bones in the opposite direction of the top of your head. Lengthening out as much as you can. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. I'm going to bring both hands over to the right leg and stretch the left leg all the way out along the floor. Left hand will draw the right knee across the body, down to the floor. Let yourself roll onto your side. Once your knee is on the floor or a block, you can place a block under the knee. Reach the right arm up for the ceiling and then slowly find your twist melting down to the floor. Try to keep the right knee grounded on the floor or on a block to help protect the lower back. Nice deep breaths in your twist. And then slowly bring it back to center. Plant your right foot to draw your left leg up. You can hug both knees into the chest again. Both hands to left leg, straighten out through the right, slide it along the floor. Right hand will draw the left knee across the body into my backdrop. Once the knee's on the floor or on a block, take the left arm, stretch it up nice and high, create length, and then float down to the floor. Deep breaths in your twist, wringing out the spine. Let's take one more breath here. I swear I could live in a spine twist. And then slowly bring it back to center. Plant the foot down. You can walk the right foot in for a second. Rock the hips side to side or tilt the hips forward and back. Deep breath. You can either roll to the side to come up to sit, or you can draw the knees in, cross the ankles, rock and roll up to a seated position. Lifting up. Swiss_R. Thank you so much for the follow. Namaste to you too. Sitting up nice and tall, come to a comfortable seated position, just whatever works for you. Cross-legged, bottom of the feet together, sitting on a cushion. We will close the class together with 3 deep breaths. Hands can rest lightly on the knees. Sitting up nice and tall. Greetings from Switzerland. Wonderful, welcome. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. You can make noise with your breath if you want. Deep breath in. Falling out, sigh. On this last one, inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Let the palms touch overhead as you exhale. Draw the hands to the heart center, sealing in your practice. Thank you so much for joining me today. The light in me honors and acknowledges the light in you. Namaste. We have a yoga teacher Discord. I'm not on Discord at all. Might have to check that out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you really enjoyed this class, it is going to be archived on my YouTube, which is also Fit Strong Fairy Mom. This stretching you out, I really enjoyed that. Thanks. You are so welcome. Kat Cleary, thank you so much. You are very welcome so much. While this is a free class, this is my gift to you and to the world. If you would like to support me, one of the best ways you can do that is share. Share my channel, share a video from my YouTube, subscribe, follow, share something from my Facebook. I have a whole bunch of videos from when I did Facebook Live. They're not great because Facebook Live is not great. But, you know, if you liked one of those videos, you can do that as well. I am the Mindful Spoon Yoga on Facebook and Instagram. You can share stuff from there. You can follow me there. If you really, really, really liked the class and you would like to support me directly, then I do have a PayPal link on the About Me section here. As well as my Patreon page, which is the Mindful Spoon Yoga on Patreon. Fashion Theory, thanks for a great class. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I also have my Amazon wish list on there because why not? You know, if you want to spoil a yoga teacher a little bit, then there's a couple things on there that would be absolutely delightful. But yeah, the best way you can help me out here, help build this community, is by inviting your friends, sharing with them, getting them to come join us for a class. If they've never tried yoga before, pretty much all of my classes are very beginner friendly, like what we did today. It's super beginner friendly. I try to make sure you have the modifications that you need to do this safely, and you know, it just feels good. It's just good. So share with your friends, share the videos, come back and see me. I try to do this every single Saturday. I do have a 7-month-old, so sometimes life happens, but I do try to do this every Saturday. With all of that, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you so much. You make this worth it. You know, I'm not just teaching into the void. I have you showing up in my chat. I have you here with me, and you make this job not a job. You do. So thank you so much. Hopefully I will see you next week with some friends in tow, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. For those of us here in the US, it is Memorial Weekend, which, you know, it's remembering those who have given their lives for this country, and it often is a celebration of those lives. So enjoy your long weekend, and everybody else, just enjoy your time. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Namaste.